Good evening, Dan Delmar in for Aaron, and we have a lot of news to get to today, starting with the budget. Now, it's not an earth-shattering budget. There's a lot of spending. We'll be going into deficits to the tune of about $18 billion. And for more highlights, let's head over to Nick Moraitis, tax partner at FL Fuller Landau. You can hear him on our Today's Entrepreneur show on Monday nights. Nick, hello.
Hi, Dan. Thank you for having me.
Thanks for joining us. So first, general impressions, Nick. Is this a really consequential budget, or is it sort of like a midterm, middle-of-the-road kind of budget?
Yeah, I'm seeing it as a middle-of-the-road budget right now. I'm only on page 45 of the 369 pages of the budget document, so I don't have everything down. But for most individuals, because that's what I was looking at, I guess the good news is no increase in tax rates. They didn't abolish any new tax credits that they started abolishing, say, last year. The bad news is there's no reduction of tax rates either, so I guess it depends on where you're standing. One thing that was pretty good is there's something new called Canada Workers Benefit that's replacing the working income tax benefit for low-income workers. They're improving that. It's good to see. They're paying out more. It's about $160 more at low levels of income, between $10,000 to $12,000, and you still receive something at $24,000 of employment income, where you would have stopped getting anything at 21. So that's good to see. And now they're indexing it, so they don't have to keep changing this every time. And they're also, I think, realizing that quite a few people are not claiming it by not filling in the forms properly, and the CRA will be mandated to calculate the benefit and pay it to workers if they're not filling things out properly. So that's a good thing. The Canada Child Benefit, they mentioned they were strengthening it. From what I see, they're strengthening it for indigenous communities up north, because I guess it's something it's a lot more involved to get it. They're indexing it, and they're moving the indexing a lot forward into 2018. So that's good to know, because that's a tax-free amount you're getting for children. So for the individual, it doesn't seem to be very much there at the tax part. At the business level, they are keeping what they started last year, where they're trying to reduce the tax benefits of our business tax system to small businesses and not to wealthy small businesses. So what we're seeing is new rules that have come in that basically say, if you have a small business, Canada wants to encourage that, so therefore we give you a very favorable corporate tax rate for your first $500,000 of profits. It's very low. Once you pass that, then you're into the general tax rate, which is around 27% for most provinces across the country, provincial and federal. So now they're saying that, well, the wealthier small businesses that have accumulated a lot of investments and are now earning more than $50,000 a year in investment income, that could be dividends, interest, capital gains, rents, etc. Well, we'll start cutting back on this $500,000, because maybe you shouldn't be getting it. Mm-hmm. So that they've started in, so that by the time you're making about 100, I think they said about 150,000 of investment income. So they're figuring about a $3 million hoard of cash. You will not be getting the small business deduction. So that's following from what they started out last year.
Is that a more sort of acceptable compromise for Canada's business community? Because we talked about this a lot on Today's Entrepreneur, is that sort of friction in the business community, and particularly among family-owned businesses who would see some of their profits clawed back.
Well, it's interesting, because Quebec 2 years ago took a different tack, Dan. They said, listen, we have a small business deduction here. It's not as favorable as in the rest of the provinces, but it's there nevertheless. And what we want businesses that hire people to get this small business deduction rate. So they turn around and say, listen, if you're a small place, like 1, 2, 3 employees, we won't give it to you. You're going to pay the top rate, because it's really you. But once you get past the 3 and you're maintaining employment levels north of 3 full-time employees, well, now you're creating jobs. That's exactly what we want this incentive to do, and therefore we'll let you have it. So what there seem to be gearing is to the professional, which I am one, and lawyers, doctors, or others who are working more or less on their own. We're not giving you the small business deduction because we want you to pay a higher tax rate. This seems to be going a bit at a different rate. It seems to be that as you start accumulating wealth, so you're not there having $3 million may seem a lot, but it may not be that much. But once you get into that $3 million, then you start being penalized in terms of tax breaks. Even though your company could be hiring a lot of people and engaged and investing, so it seems to be we're attacking people who are acquiring wealth and reaching a certain level, as opposed to maybe going back and saying, we won't give you the small business deduction unless we see that you're hiring people and investing in capital. That's the firms that we really like. So it's a political decision as to which way to go. But if I was an entrepreneur trying to accumulate wealth, I'm being slapped across the face if that's what I've accomplished while I have a business that's hiring people and buying things. So,
now, there's an overarching theme of gender equality in this budget, and there's one note I can see here, but it's sort of sprinkled around in various areas, but there is $1.4 billion going to women entrepreneurs. Are you seeing a lot of those types of programs in the budget?
No, that must be in the other pages that I haven't yet hit.
Okay.
There is a whole bunch. I know there's a whole section on pay equity within the federal industry. So like banking would be impacted on the parental sharing benefits that came in as well. Although here in Quebec, where in the rest of Canada, I think they're adding another 5 weeks to the existing maternity leave, or that's what I call it.
Paternity leave, right?
It would be exactly. It's to enable the father to take time off. Here in Quebec, I think we're under the Quebec rules. They're very different, a lot more generous, and they encourage the fathers to leave work and stay home with the child. So I don't know how much of a benefit we're going to see there. But there's a lot of programs. A lot in this budget is how the government is going to be spending the money that they've taken through their various programs and through the various departments. And that's where we're now going through and reading to see what is there new programs, are there more enhanced programs, what are the rules. There's a whole industry that is trying to meet the clients who need it and the government who has to set up the program and get the funds going to the people who need it.
Now, lastly, any other big highlights here? I'm seeing $500 million for cybersecurity, a lot of various programs. Anything else jumping out at you?
The stuff that I'm seeing is that they're attacking tax evasion, international tax planning. They're going ahead. They're investing even more into the process. So it's really that seems to be a win-win for them in terms of bringing in money into Canada and increasing their annual tax revenues, which will then assist them to maybe keep their deficit at the numbers that they got and maybe pour this cash back into these programs.
Nick Moraitis, tax partner at FL Fuller Landau, with the details on the budget. Nick, thanks. I'll let you get back to it, and you can blog away all the observations.
All right,
thanks for your time.
Thank you very much for having us.
Take care.
Good.